When the first vehicle in the convoy exploded into a fireball, the Russian mercenaries knew something was wrong. Their mission was simple: capture an oil field in eastern Syria. It was supposed to be routine, no resistance expected. After all, who would stand against 500 battle-hardened Russian and Syrian fighters? But within seconds, explosions rocked the ground, and the night sky lit up with tracer fire. Something wasn't right. What the Wagner Group mercenaries didn't know was that their target wasn't just an abandoned facility. It was defended by elite American Special Operations Forces, backed by the most powerful air force in the world. Within minutes, their mission turned from a quick takeover into a massacre, one of the deadliest encounters Wagner had ever faced. Since 2014, US forces had been in Syria, supporting the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, against ISIS. Russia entered the war a year later, backing the Assad regime. While they were on opposite sides, both groups had largely avoided direct conflict. A deconfliction line was drawn along the Euphrates River to prevent accidental clashes, and a hotline between Russian and US commanders ensured communication at all times. But on February 7, 2018, all of that changed. A massive force of 500 Russian and Syrian fighters, reinforced with tanks, artillery, and rocket launchers, moved toward the Conoco oil field, controlled by the SDF. Without warning, they began shelling the base, unaware that American Green Berets, Army Rangers, and Marines were also stationed there. At that moment, a US officer picked up the hotline and called the Russian command post. "Are these your guys attacking us?" he asked. The response was clear: "No, they are not ours." That was all the confirmation the Americans needed. Whoever was attacking their base had just signed their own death warrant. Before the Russian convoy even reached its attack position, it was already too late. An American MQ-9 Reaper drone had been tracking them for hours, unseen and deadly. The drone operator had one mission: eliminate the convoy. The first and last vehicles were taken out with pinpoint missile strikes, trapping the mercenaries in the kill zone. Chaos erupted as American artillery and HIMARS rocket launchers pounded the battlefield. Within minutes, the mercenaries were in complete disarray. Then, the real nightmare began. 4 Apache attack helicopters appeared over the horizon, their infrared optics turning the night into day. Hellfire missiles locked onto Russian T-72 tanks, reducing them to burning wrecks. The Apache's 30mm chain guns unleashed a relentless storm of explosive rounds, cutting down any Wagner fighters who tried to flee. If the Russian mercenaries thought it couldn't get worse, they were dead wrong. AC-130 gunships circled above, picking off anything that moved. B-52 bombers carpet-bombed the battlefield, leaving nothing but scorched earth. F-15 fighter jets and even the cutting-edge F-22 Raptors joined the assault, dropping precision-guided bombs that turned buildings into rubble. Survivors tried to hide, but the Americans had thermal imaging. There was no escape. One Russian mercenary later recalled, "They simply rolled us out. It was a slaughter." At one point, a Wagner commander frantically called Russian high command, pleading for air support. But the Russian Air Force never came. Their Su-34 and Su-35 fighters stayed grounded, unwilling to engage in an air war against the superior US Air Force. As the battle raged on, casualties mounted. In a desperate move, the Wagner Group finally called for a ceasefire. The Americans acknowledged the request, but only after ensuring the battlefield was cleared of all hostiles. By dawn, it was over. The battlefield was a graveyard of burned-out tanks and shredded bodies. Of the 500 Russian and Syrian fighters who attacked, at least 200 were dead or wounded. The US forces not a single casualty. In some places, the sand had turned to glass from the intense heat of the bombing. Gun barrels were warped from the relentless shelling. It was a level of destruction Wagner had never seen before. For the Russian government, it was an embarrassment. Officially, they denied any involvement, but leaked calls from Wagner commanders to Moscow revealed the truth. They had been sent on a suicide mission. The survivors even received a commemorative medal, one that showed a Russian soldier heroically firing at an American Apache helicopter. A scene that, in reality, never happened.